We do have, Steve has got a,
Well, she hasn't shown up on the,
okay.
so just keep going.
He's gonna have a demonstration for us here in just a little bit. So whenever that pops up, then we'll kind of break and go through the demo with, you wanna give us a rundown of what the demo's gonna be about?
She's going to talk to us about the document archival tool that Community Code System uses, and it'll help you guys make your decision on whether or not you want to go forward with signing the proposal for the software year by year.
So when that lady becomes available, then we'll just kind of break where we're at and let her do her thing and watch while she's available to us. So,
Well, hold on.
okay, we'll move forward for a few seconds here. If you look at your financials, those are through March the 31st, or they are for the month of March. March puts us a third of the way through the year at 33%. Kelly, a quick question. Is all 3 months included, financial information included in this report? I'll tell you why I'm asking, because when I look at the individual departments, the elected officials, and how they rate, 20% or 30% or whatever, the judge's office, the first one that's on the financial report, shows straight up and down 33%, right on the nose where we ought to be. Every other elected official falls down to 21 to 23%.
Aren't we at 25% at March? Where we
Is it
get-
25%?
there's 4 quarters, so.
Yeah, you're right.
It should be at 25%.
It's 25%. Yeah, I got in too big a hurry, so.
Well, I was gonna say, it might depend on the department. So for example, like the judge's department, his salary is split between county general and roads. And so for the first 6 months, his salary is strictly coming out of county general.
Okay.
So it's going to show a little bit more
All right.
there than some of the other funds. So.
Well, that's because of the way the software has changed the splits, which that's one thing that we're going to talk about after a while, is a little bit about the software and bring that up. But in looking at our numbers, the numbers are all good. Numbers look really nice. Every elected official is right on the button, 21 to 23%. Sheriff is actually down to 20%. County General is a little bit misconstrued. If you looked at page 36, which shows the end total of the overall County General budget, it says 38%, but that's skewed just a little bit because out of that we bought $2 million worth of CDs. It's money that we still have, just haven't expended, but it reflects as an expenditure. So don't look at that and let it scare you. County roads at 19%, solid waste at 21. At 20. Senior citizens at 21. County jail also at 20. On the solid waste, I don't have a whole lot of points. I didn't see a lot of scattered blurbs on the radar, but I did want to point out on the cell construction on my printout, it shows on page 59. It shows on page 59 of the sanitation budget. And down at the bottom, 4009 says cell construction. And we had $0 actually budgeted, but we spent $111,391. And that was because they just didn't finish up by the end of the year.
So the money's there.
Yeah, it's just,
Or, I mean,
we didn't appropriate it there because we thought we'd be done. Correct, Kelly? Yeah, they're not broke, we didn't break them or anything, it's just they didn't spend it before the first of the year.
Okay, so it's not an so,
No,
okay.
so don't think, oh,
No,
Holy
I
crap.
put, like, I wrote it down.
Yeah, yeah, so at 111,391.54, and it just wasn't budgeted in there. I think we're through, aren't we, Kelly? Wasn't that last 11,000 supposed to do it?
I don't think that they have finished the last payment yet, but, I mean, I can check on that and see.
Okay.
I think they were very close. If it hasn't been done, well, actually, it may have already been done. It's just gonna be in the April. You know, it's gonna be in the April.
Being reflecting next month's
Mhm.
expenditure report. Stephen, whenever she comes up now, just flag me or say something. And
She's ready.
She's ready? Okay, then let's take just a moment and watch Miss Hayes.
Okay, can you hear us?
It says that it is blocked. It won't let me share. You have disabled participant sharing. You may be able to click on my name. Yeah, there's a glitch. While he's doing that, everybody, can everybody hear me okay?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'm Crystal Hayes. I'm with MuniCode. I'm so happy to be able to be here to present this to you guys today. I have talked to Stephen. He's very excited about our MuniDocs option to help you guys with your document archiving.
Okay,
Just
Crystal,
let me know
could you
whenever
talk
you get
just a little louder?
Got
it? Okay. Let her blare us out.
Just see if I can turn mine.
I think we got you now.
Okay, good. Awesome. Because otherwise I'll be yelling at y'all and that would not be pleasant. Let me start a little bit, just tell you guys about MuniCode. If you haven't heard of us, we are the nation's largest codifier. Typically, most people know us for codification of city and county ordinances or orders. I will start my video. Yes, let me. Nope, it's still saying it's disabled for participant screen sharing. Back to it. I wish I could show you my page. It's coming. But MuniCode has slowly evolved into more of a software as a service company. We offer not only our codification services, but we have document archival tools. We have policy and procedure software. We have a brand new self-publishing software for everybody to manage their own code in-house. We also have agenda management software as well as websites. So we have hundreds and hundreds of websites rolling out, so much so that our project management team is literally gasping for air daily. So we're really excited about that. Yay, it's gonna let me share my screen now. Thank you, sir. Can you guys see my screen where it says MuniCode?
Yes.
Perfect, perfect. Over here on the right-hand side, this is our webpage. So you guys, whenever you get a chance, you can all navigate to it if you can't see it. But this is our circle of governance, is what we call it. With all of the services that I mentioned that we have, you'll notice the circle of governance is in puzzle pieces. And the reason why it's in puzzle pieces is because everything is integrated or automated in some way with each other. So it does help Stephen and his team and staff with all of the additional tasks that they have to do that allows technology to do some of that for them. So for today, we're going to focus on the nice, pretty teal turquoisey color right here, the document archival tool, otherwise known as MuniDocs. All of our services have cute names like that, Muni FedRAMP server. So it's the most secure server you can get out there. The reason why we're allowed on it is because we have so many government documents that we host. We are the only codifier that's allowed on it. So without further ado, I'm going to jump in and show you guys a little bit about this. So I understand you guys have documents, you need a place to put them so that they're visible to the public and that they're searchable. And that's exactly what MuniDocs does. So you would get a sign-on link, or Stephen would, and he would go into it and we will open it up so you can see what one looks like. Of course, they cleared it off, go figure. This is my demo site. They play in it a lot, and sometimes they really mess with my mind, so I'm going to go to Addison, Texas, only because I know they have a really well-developed MuniDocs. Their city secretary there has done a lot of work in uploading and organizing the document. So to get into it, yours won't have the code of ordinance up here. It would just have the MuniDocs, so you would just browse that. And then when you go into the MuniDocs, you can see the folder tree that's over on the left. And so with this folder tree, this is something that Stephen obviously would design or put in there how he wants to organize it. But you can see here, it's got the minutes in there, it's got the budgets in there, this is resolutions by year, is how she has organized it. So I can go in here and I can take a look at every single one of the resolutions that they have chosen to
In the front
upload into the system.
Look in the front.
And it literally opens up the full document that is uploaded in there. All of the documents are OCR indexed, so as long as it has clear text, it will find it. So that makes searching it very easy. And let me show you, we'll just go search so you can see one. Let's see if I picked a good one. Yes. I'm gonna search for Garver. They're just the engineering firm. I just wanted to be able to find something. So I'm going to search for Garver. It's going to ask me if that's what I want to search for, because sometimes if it finds another one, it will lead you down the road. Yours will not have any code or ordinances since it'll just be MuniDocs, but you can see here that the word Garver has appeared 31 times in the actual documents. This over here is a filter mechanism, so you can come down here and deselect any of the items or categories that you don't want to look at. But you can come down over here and let's say that this is the one that we were looking at. You can select it here, you can download it, or you can share the link to it. If I click on it, it's going to take me directly to that document. So it makes finding your document super easy. Again, Stephen gets to set up the folder tree however he wants to have them searchable, whether it's numerical, chronological, alphabetical, whatever that is. And it's a very simple software. Now, it is web-facing, so I was very clear on this. I would not put any sensitive material up there that's not redacted first. So obviously, you wouldn't want to put personnel information unless you redact all the appropriate information. Because there's no way to make it an internal-facing only option. We have one of those, but it's not specifically for just database repository. Does anybody have any questions about MuniDocs? It's pretty simple. And you guys would put a link to your MuniCode landing page on your website and link to it. It would be very simple to do. Any questions at all? Y'all are quite a bunch today. I know it's Monday.
Miss Janice, you got anything at all you want to ask about this particular, because it would affect your office as much as anybody.
My one question is there a way for you to transfer our current documents that we already have over to your system? Or would we have to scan them all in again?
It's just a simple upload link.
Okay.
So the link would be sent, and whoever decides what the folder tree looks like over here, you would simply go in and create an ordinance folder or a budget folder. Let's say a budget folder. And then you could come in and do it by fiscal years, or you could do it,
chronologically, however you set that up. And then you just upload the documents that are respective to that in there. If we were to do it for you, there would be a fee, and then you would have to still get the information to us, which is how we used to do it. But this just makes it, instead of you having to get the information to us and then us try to upload it in the right place for you, this just allows you to do it directly. And you can copy and drag, copy and paste, click and drag.
Ms. Curry is our county clerk and responsible for keeping the records, the ordinances and resolutions on file and available.
Gotcha. Thank you for that. Yeah, so it's really super simple. It's no different than uploading to a cloud or uploading into another database. It's really, when you see it the first time, you're gonna go, all right, I got this. But we have a lot of cities, a lot of counties, a lot of governmental entities. We even have some utility districts that are starting to use it more. Because one, it's super cost effective, and it's a way to have your records on a server that is backed up. So God forbid something happened there in the county, at least you know you have your documents that are in a safe place. Any other questions for me?
Justice Asher, you got anything? This is free, right?
It's as close to free as they'll let me go. They won't let me go too far, but it's only $350 a year. So when you're talking about a software cost, server cost, that's like pennies in the bucket. And it gives you 25 gigs of data. We have very few entities that actually go over that, but if you do, it only goes up to 600 per year. So it's really not cost prohibitive just to be able to have your data OCR index searchable, easy to find, not only by you guys, but also by all of the residents of your county.
Do you have any other counties in Arkansas that you're serving with this software?
I don't know off the top of my head. That's a good question, but let me go take a stab and look.
I think Benton County and Washington County,
Two of them.
that I know off my head right now.
Mr. Savage thinks that you have at least two off the top of his head that you're currently serving.
Well, here, let me do this. I can go to my code library and be just as easy. And then I can go to Arkansas. Let's see, we have Benton County, we have Baxter County, we have Howard County, Lonoke, Pulaski, and Washington. Now let me see if each one of them, so they do not, but they do have their ordinances hosted with us. Benton County, we'll just go take a look at each one. They don't, but they do have their ordinances. With you guys have ordinances as well?
Yes.
Okay, they have those as well, but no muni docs. And they have their ordinances, but no muni docs, and I'm really surprised, but I'll keep plugging away. I don't know that anybody in, not off the top of my head, I'd have to go in and look at every single one to see. Did I already look at Lonoke? Well, that's an issue. Why does it say archive for them? Try that again. Huh. I'll turn that one in today. Figure out what's going on with theirs. I'm sure we have some cities, but I don't see that any of our counties do. Now, that I could be wrong though, but as I flip through here, but you can see so many of them have all the ordinances here too, so. And I apologize, I should know that, but I don't, they took my report away, they updated our CRM and they took my report away that had that, so I have not been able to update that.
So what key questions are we not asking that you think we should have?
Well, I talked to you about sensitive materials, so remember that if it's HIPAA in any way, shape, or form, I wouldn't put it in here unless it's redacted. I always want to point that out because that's a big one. There is no record retention destruction date, so you would have to track that separately in an Excel spreadsheet so that whatever you needed to destroy actually has the destruction date that would let you know that. So there's really not any back-end kind of record management with it. It's simply a database repository for your records so that it can be searchable and found online.
Excellent.
But other than that, I don't know that there's any other questions. It's a very simple process. It's a very simple software. And it fills the need for organizations like yourself that, you know, they don't want to go out and pay an exorbitant amount of money for a new server or to add it to the websites or however, so.
Guys, y'all have any other questions of Ms. Hayes? Or any for Mr. Savage?
I have some, but after the Zoom, specifically for Stephen.
You will get full training. That's another question. Training's provided, and there's all kinds of help documents and videos. So if you forget how to do it, you can certainly go in and do that and take a look at it and relearn it. And if that doesn't show you what it is, you can always call the home office and we can get you somebody to help. You will have a dedicated account manager. So if you ever have any questions, Susan Webb is your account manager, so she would just be able to answer those questions for you.
And if we decide to not renew 1 year, we simply just lose all the information?
It is your information, so if for some reason you decided not to, just let us know and we can leave it up till you're ready, until it gets taken down, usually a week or two at the max, but we're not gonna just destroy your records for you. That's not what we do.
So if we want to be able to search past records, they would have to be uploaded to the cloud before we'd be able to do that, right?
Yes, sir. And once they're uploaded, our system will take it and it'll index it. As long as the text can be read, it'll index it. And so, and what I mean by indexing is it'll find all of the text that's on there, and it will actually tell the system, okay, this is a text that we need to search for. So that when you type in a search
Is that what she said we could do?
term, it will find it. Our search is Boolean based. So, like that, for instance, that sample that I showed you here, which was the Garver, like if I went back and did Garver plus, April, it would find it because it's going to find me anything that has April or Garver in it together. I can put it in quotes, and those two words have to appear right next to each other. So if you know how to use Boolean-based searches, you can definitely go there quicker.
Okay. When you say upload these, is this something that they have to actually scan it in, or can they take a photo of it with their iPhone like you can a document now to save it as a PDF and upload it with that?
If it takes a good resolution picture of it, or it makes a PDF of it, you could certainly do that. If it takes a picture of it, unfortunately, the OCR index won't see the JPEG file. It'll only see the text with it. So that text is important. So it needs to be a PDF, Word file, Excel, anything with text fields in it.
Okay.
All right, well, if you guys do come up with some more questions, I'm happy to help answer them. I know this was a very short review, but because Steve and I had already gone through a couple of options, he felt that this was the best one that would be best suited for you guys. But if you come up with any other questions, you can just let him know, and he can let me know, and I'm happy to help, or you guys can contact me directly. My email is very simple. It's crystal@municode.com, and that's KRYSTAL @municode.com.
We sure appreciate it, and thank you very much for sharing your time with us.
Absolutely happy to do it. You guys have a great Monday.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
So, I do have a question.
Well, I think we may have 2 or 3, so go.
Okay, I guess I'm confused. So, she was talking about some of the cities have, or some of the counties have ordinances. What exactly are we talking about uploading?
Ordinances.
So it would be ordinances, just.
Ordinances, economic development stuff. That way, if any citizens need to look up the ordinances we passed.
I think he was also talking resolutions.
Yes.
So would we have different, would it all be under the mini docs, or would
Yes.
you have different?
It'll be all up under that system right there. So
Okay.
if anybody wants to search past resolutions, ordinances, all they have to do is just go to our website, type it up, boom, it's right there. Without us having to do an FOIA.
So are you gonna be responsible for getting the past ones uploaded?
Yep. Judge already gave us, well, the office, the county judge's office, that responsibility, so.
Totally.
I'm a little confused, I'm sorry. So what's wrong with, my understanding is, after polling some of their employees, that we already have a system like this in place that other departments for the county are using. So I'm confused as to why we need a new one, why the program that we're already using, why doesn't that work for your office and what you want to upload?
Nobody has told us our office, anything about that program that they're currently using. I mean, it's been over a month here now, and nobody has approached me and said, hey, Stephen, this is what the system is looking like. This is how you get incorporated into our website. Nobody has bothered to say, hey, Stephen, this is the
Okay.
system we're using.
Right.
Let's not use this over
Right.
here.
Have you researched with any of the other departments what they're using now?
I have not.
Okay, because my understanding is that some of the other departments are already having to enter stuff in multiple places, and this would be one more place that they have to upload it. I mean, I think that we need this, don't get me wrong. I just think that there's a whole lot of, maybe the different departments are not communicating with one
They're
another.
not.
But that works both ways. I mean, you haven't tried to, you said they haven't tried to communicate with you, but you haven't tried to communicate with any of them either, correct? You haven't done any research with them?
Well, I made my presentation. Nobody came to me afterwards.
So that would be my concern is that I think that there's a big disconnect, and we have offices that this is gonna be a burden on if they have to continue. If we're paying for multiple softwares that all do the same thing, I just think that we need to get on the same page, personally.
Well, one thing, okay, so now, I think when we talked about this at one of the previous meetings, one of the things, like the software that we use right now is not available to the public, though, right? Or you don't know? Oh, okay.
It's not available.
You see what I'm saying?
So that's the issue, that's the difference. So it doesn't, that's what I was asking was, so it won't work for what he wants to do. That was my ultimate,
I don't think so, but now I could be wrong, I don't know, but the
It's
way
not
I,
available to the public,
Yeah.
which is,
like the way I understood it is this is like a web-based something that would go on the county website so that they would be able to
click it,
and
Search.
search it.
Right.
Whereas right now, they do file it away, but that's not available.
to
That's,
the public.
yeah.
So maybe this could take the place of that so those departments don't have to enter it multiple times.
I don't think so. I mean, I don't know. That was certainly would be way above my,
It looks like that Stephen's gonna have to go back and re-enter the stuff that they already have entered. I know that when I first got on court, we were paying to have all this stuff scanned in.
I remember when that.
And so it's all in a system, but
Somewhere that we can't find.
Right.
somewhere that you can't find, okay.
So that's
It's all in
my-
a system somewhere that you
I
can't find, so.
mean,
he's
it's
gonna
in there, we just can't, we don't know how they indexed it. So like if I wanted to go in there and find a probate record from 1970,
Okay.
I don't know how to search for it because I don't know how they indexed it.
Is there any way to go back to that company that scanned that in and find that out?
Well, see,
That was a lot of money if I remember
they're saying, what they did was they hired some kids to go in and index this stuff, scan and index it.
So.
That was a big contract, wasn't it? I was on Form
That
at the
was
time,
people
but I
that we
remember.
hired to do that.
It was like $1 million, it was a
Yeah.
lot of money.
Yeah,
That's a lot of money that we didn't, if you got something and it's not searchable.
We spent 1.4 at that time, and that was before John Allen was still on the court at that time. That's how far back that goes. So it's been 12, 14 years, something like that. The financial management office at that time was in charge of it, pretty much, is Brenda. Brenda Burke was trying to coordinate it. She tried to keep her finger on the project as much as she could. The company was out of Texas. They came up and spent months, literally months up here, didn't they, Janice?
put apart our own books.
Yeah.
Well, because they did it for us, that's probably why it cost a lot. Just like she said, if you send it all to us or we're gonna do it, it's gonna cost you a lot more than if you just do it yourself, you're just paying that monthly. So that's probably why. if
It
she
was
said-
one of those deals where they could come here, or we could send all the records there, and we didn't want our records leaving the county
But
at that
So
time.
you pay
if
for
I
it.
understand, we scanned in every document, your probate records, the whole 9 yards.
All the way back.
All this would
All
be,
the way
would be
back.
our resolutions, our ordinances, and things of that nature, so that people could go in and search. Am I
Okay.
Yes.
correct, Steve?
So we would only be using this for basically for his office, so we would not be requiring the other offices to, is that what you're saying?
That's my
Okay.
understanding. That's-
Because I remember, I thought I said that when I did my presentation. The judge, he had all of these filing cabinets that he wants to get rid of.
Right.
And all of these documents that he needs to upload to the website, they were court documents, landfill type stuff, and economic development type stuff. I think we got like 3 filing cabinets of economic development type stuff. So those can go on that
Okay.
thing right
I just
there.
didn't want to require multiple work for lots of other offices, so that's not what you're talking about. And they won't have to, Janice won't have to be uploading
Not
stuff to
really.
that, even ongoing, like you're gonna do this stuff past and then you're gonna continue to do it?
So whenever she finishes like quote unquote, like minutes or whatever, I will be uploading those onto that.
Okay,
So there will be no need to like keep paper documents or anything like that. It will all just scan through digitally.
okay.
But some of those documents, you have to keep the hard copy. Have you checked with that?
Yes,
But
I'm
that
just
stuff,
saying, it will scan through on that.
you keep hard copies of all of that,
Right.
so.
He wouldn't have to keep the hard.
He wouldn't
Right.
necessarily have to have a filing cabinet for it.
Because that's already probably duplicate records anyway, what's in there.
Right, because
Okay.
Cindy, she maintains our quote unquote documents.
Okay. So this is basically just taking the records and making them to where they're searchable for the public, basically.
Yes, ma'am.
County's required by law to do certain things. One of those things, we have certain documents, certain types of documents that we're required to keep the hard copy in perpetuity, forever. Another thing is we have to have an emergency plan in place where if the courthouse burned down, we could be back up and running. So we have off-site storage of all of our documents also, so that we could be back up and running in less than, correct me if I'm wrong, Janice, 3 days?
Somewhere like that.
Yeah, it's
That's
right,
what
we have to be
sure.
capable of being up and running, and we do have that plan in place, and I've had that plan for several years. But this would be a public access of information type thing. $350 a year honestly is kind of cheap, you know. And I'm not saying the product's cheap, I'm just saying it's not an expensive
Right.
try.
It'll keep Stephen busy.
Maybe busier than he wants to be. He may have opened his
I
own
bet
can
he
of
does.
worms
I
here.
bet he'd be pulling his hair out.
So where would we need to go to from here, guys? Not necessarily finance committee, but Stephen, where would you want to move forward to, or how would you like to move forward on a project like this?
The lady from Unicode, I think she just wants you guys to move forward on whether or not you want to go ahead and sign the proposal, and so they can get started on the software for us.
Probably what we'd need to do is pass a full court resolution to that effect, allowing the judge to enter into a contract like that if the majority of the JPs thought it was worthy and worthwhile. Janice, you got any comments? I mean, not good or bad, just comments?
No, sir.
Harley, you're another elected official, you got any?
Not on this. Because I've got my own software that I'm having issues with right now.
Okay, let me deal with this, and I want to touch with you here in just a few minutes. So, guys, anybody against this? Just cutting to the chase. There's 8 of us here.
I mean, it could be useful. It really could.
Well,
It's an inexpensive trial one way or the other, I mean.
okay, so this is finance. I don't know that it's particularly the place that it has to come from or that it can't come from this place, but with 8 of us here, if anybody's opposed to the thought of moving a resolution to the full court for vote, allowing the judge to enter into a contract in this particular project, you got a thought, Rick? You're looking at the committees there.
I was gonna say, if it had to come out of a different committee, the only one I would think would be the efficiency committee, because this would be an efficiency issue. But I don't see that it has to, because he's already done the research, and as long as, nobody has an
Who's head of
objection
that
to it.
efficiency committee?
Huh?
Who's head of that efficiency committee?
I think it's him. Cecil. Well, I don't know. It doesn't designate the chairmans, but it looks like they're,
It's me and is it?
let's see, Cecil, Betty Hepler, Neil Burge, Toby McClanahan, and Joanne Hinton are on that committee. And I'm assuming that the chairman is the top one because it looks like they are on the other side. Cecil's the chairman.
Okay.
We gonna
First and
proceed on.
second?
Just continue on.
So we're taking it out of the efficiency, so I'll make a motion that we move that to the
We
full
first
court.
and second it.
Okay, we got a first and second that we move a resolution to the full court for consideration of entering into this contract that we just saw
For
the
having the efficiency committee meeting.
presentation on. And we'll let the full court vote on it, and then it's just simply allowing the judge to move into a contract if he so chooses also. So, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? All right, moving right along. We've got a couple of appropriation deals to deal with, but before we deal with that, we've got senior citizens ladies here with us today. They've got a issue that they'd like to discuss with us, a request that they'd like to go over, and rather than tie them up through more tedious stuff. Amanda, you want to talk to us here?
Yeah, thank y'all. This is gonna go back to 2019, 2020. Me and Kelly has talked about this in Barb. Back then, we had to cut money out of our budget. And so we chose to cut out a custodian. And so the rolls around, the pandemic comes, and it was just fine that we didn't have a custodian because we could keep on top of it. And in conjunction with that, AAA over at Jonesboro, there's an Older Worker Act. We had a woman that was placed with us. She was on the older worker. She worked 3.8 hours, and she helped with the custodian, but she also helped pack meals. We were doing over 700 meals a week. And it has gone up with the seniors not wanting to get out, not go anywhere, not go to restaurants. Well, fast forward, Jonesboro is cutting out, or should I say Arkansas is going to cut out the older worker. So we're going to lose that lady that was helping us. So she not only drove a route, but she helped pack meals, over 700. Well, now we fast forward to the pandemic. So we're anticipating that we're going to open back up. And when we do, the health department, Arkansas, and the governor is going to require us, everybody that walks in that door will have their temperature taken, and we'll have to register them as coming for the day. Because if somebody breaks out with a virus, it has to be tracked, and everybody that's been exposed for that day in that building. There is no way that Barb, I, and the kitchen staff can pack 700 meals, take care of the congregate, keep up with the pandemic regulations, and clean that building. I'm coming to you today to ask to restore my custodian. And that person would help us actually drive a meal route and do things in the building. I did go this year when my budget comes around back in November. I have found where I'm going to cut out $9,000 out of my budget. So where I was having an audit, that I was paying someone here in town to do my audit, I'm gonna cut that bill out totally, because I'm gonna go with the county auditors. I was doing 2 audits a year. So I'm asking y'all today to please give me back a custodian with 3.8 hours. They'll not only help clean the building, but they'll help pack meals and do a route.
Will that be sufficient?
The 3.8 hours?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, it would help us out.
Is that per day or per week?
Per day.
Per day.
Per day.
Per day.
4 hours.
Per day.
Half a day a week, every day.
Yes, yes.
Is
And you
that-
gotta remember, when we open back up, we will have to adhere to the health department regulations. That means somebody will be standing at the door, taking temperatures, writing their name down, and we'll have to seat them like a restaurant. They can't be around anyone else. The kitchen staff can't come out and be exposed, and they can't go to the kitchen staff. So used to, they would go up to a window, get their meals, sort of like the cafeteria in high school. That's all gonna be changed.
So if you don't have to do the audit, do you have to do the audit this year? Can you?
No, this year audit won't take place. I've already went through the Mississippi County audit with Corey. I've already had
So
that.
can we move that money that was budgeted to a different, is it in the budget this year?
It was in the budget to come up this year, Yeah. Oh, Kelly, it's not in there? We took that out last year? Okay, then I'm wrong. It was taken out last year's budget.
Okay, so so we can't move it, is that? No.
Is there any CARES Act money that we have that could be allocated for that?
I think it's already been dedicated.
We do get CARES Act money, but it goes to the food and the preparation and stuff like that. We have gotten CARES Act money.
Kelly, I've never got a chance to respond to your note to me about bringing the numbers. Did you have the foresight to think past me and bring them on anyway? What's this gonna cost us?
Yes, they have, Justice Ash was asking if they even had a slot. They do have 3 slots that are still there, they're just not funded.
Right.
And one of them is the custodian, so
Okay.
you were talking to me about July 1st.
Yeah, she'll lose her job June 30th. Yeah,
Okay,
she'll.
So I did the numbers effective July 1.
Okay.
But for the remainder of the year, it's $5,850.
Gosh, how come we not?
Does she not need more than that? That's my question.
So is that 12
Well, next
hours,
year.
is that 20
No.
hours, or what are we saying,
So
25
next-
hours a
no,
week?
Next
20
year it
hours
would
a
be
week?
double that
I mean,
fee.
less than 20.
Well, 3.8, I mean, just
Wait,
like
we
4
don't
hours.
Guys, I don't know how many of y'all have personal direct contact with what those people do for our older people. It's incredible, and the impact has been so obvious when they lost it this past year. The socializing, the food, the getting out and seeing people, the contact, it's been devastating to that older generation. And I knew it was important, I knew it was real important. Even I didn't realize how important it was. And to restore that and to get this back to them, I think is of the utmost importance. We can't afford this. We can afford $5,500 for them.
Is that, I make the same statement with
Is it
what
enough?
they're doing, and I'm closer to it than probably anybody here. Is that enough money? Is that enough money to do what you want to do? Is that enough people to do what you want to do?
Right now it is. I mean, we don't know actually when everything is lifted and they can come back. We don't actually know how many will return. We really don't. We have a program right now where it's called Hot Meal Mondays. When we deliver meals, they'll get a hot meal, but they also get frozen. That's where the packing of the meals come in. And we have just back, was it 2 months ago, opened up Wednesday, Hot Meal Wednesday. So we're doing a Hot Meal Wednesday. All they have to do is just drive through and pick it up. We actually don't know what variant we'll do. There will be some to come in. We don't know how many actually won't end up coming in because they're still too scared. And the bad thing about it is a lot of them have been vaccinated, some of them haven't, and we can't say you're not welcome if you're not vaccinated. We can't discriminate. So they could be vaccinated and potentially get exposed again of somebody that chose not to get vaccinated. That's why it's so vital that we have somebody they're cleaning. With that whole table, everything will have to be cleaned. We actually fog our kitchen at the end of every week, and no one goes back in there until the next Monday morning, and all that is fogged. We had to purchase that. The judge was kind enough to let us get some of the product. I know that we've gone down to your office and picked up all kinds of supplies, but we really will need an extra person. If there's any way y'all could help us out right now.
Guys, I'd really recommend that we refund this position and put it back to work.
No brainer and leave it open in case.
So,
So moved.
yeah, I agree. And but part-time, is that so?
Yeah, on the basis
Yeah,
that she
they
gave
won't,
us.
I mean, they won't be
3.8
eligible for
hours
insurance
per
or anything
day.
like that. It's just part-time.
Yeah. And then as you see needs, then you can come back, but at least let's establish this position for now.
Absolutely.
Fill your request and then see what you need after we get back open.
Absolutely.
should go to
So moved.
4. Why is it 3.8 and not just?
That's what I was sitting here thinking about.
Which is
Well-
We have
20
to
hours.
offer them life
It
insurance.
could be a
That's what
point
she's
of-
saying. So listen, I just
That's-
asked a question. So the 3.8, say that again?
The 3.8 hours actually keeps them as a part-time.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It
So
trips
4.
With
benefits.
Okay,
With no, no
Yeah, it
insurance.
trips benefits.
okay.
Mhm.
20 hours trips insurance or retirement.
Retirement and 30 trips insurance.
Okay,
That's
okay,
what
retirement, okay, got it.
Okay, so we've got a motion and a second that we fund this position effective July 1st, on the basis of the request from Miss Amanda. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay. Well, you got it.
Well, thank you very much. I hope to do y'all proud, and thank y'all for letting us
You
come
do
and talk
this
to you
proud.
today.
You do the senior citizens
Well,
proud.
thank y'all very much.
So
I
that's what we
appreciate it.
need.
That's okay. 7
Yeah. Okay, appropriations, guys. Energy and property. Some chairman's bringing us a request for some more money. What you got, Miss?
The Energy and Property we met last week. The budget still looks, good, still tracking well. We have extended, the contractor has extended the completion date into September, due to kind of just a couple of different things, weather, some other issues that really have not anything to do with us, not on our part. We did send a recommendation to appropriate an additional $310,000, which would get us kind of close to the $1 million mark. We also discussed, I don't know if you guys had a chance to see it, we discussed the dome in Osceola, and
He's satisfied.
good.
Renaissance, huh, you're not? Oh,
I still think. I know nothing about it, I just know there's too much controversy, and I'm just not sure that we have, and you might tell me, we have somebody with our best interests at heart on site looking at what's going on.
So, yes, so,
Mr. Porter.
yeah, so Porter Brownlee is a kind of a third-party representative that's been hired by the county.
He's our
And
employee.
he works on behalf of the county to make sure that the architect and the contractors are doing what they're supposed to do. He is only on the Blyville project. However, he has been down to Osceola, and I talked to him after the meeting the other day. I feel like he's probably an expert in most things. He's testified as an expert witness in some court cases. He's worked in behalf of the county on a couple of different issues. I don't know if Aaron, I'm just being honest with you guys, I don't know if he maybe overstated how long he thought the copper was gonna be shining. Because when he said he thought it would be shining for at least a year, in my experience with copper, I thought that was a very generous,
I don't think that's as big an issue as it is how much new copper was ordered to replace old copper and where the old copper went.
So we have the old copper.
But we do have a comparison of what was put up there versus what was taken down.
Yes.
That's everybody's concern.
Yes.
Because he made a statement that not all of us agree with, that the value of the old copper wasn't that important. And if you look at precious metals,
Who said that?
my God, the only thing more precious than copper is gold.
Well, no, who said it wasn't important?
In the argument with Ed Harshman, he said, you're arguing about something that's not that important.
You
And I
talking about
think
the
that's very
judge
important.
or the architect?
Beg your pardon?
The
Judge
judge?
Mr. Harshman.
Judge-
Mr. Harshman. It
Oh,
was sitting,
Who
it
is
was
he?
sitting just to the man's right.
The Renaissance guy.
The Renaissance
Powell.
guy had
Yeah.
come on Thursday and
Oh,
met with
Kyle,
them at
yeah.
Osceola.
At
Uh,
Chambers.
That was at
Yeah.
the chamber meeting.
They were there, I wasn't, but I'm just.
I didn't know that you weren't
No,
there.
no,
Yeah,
no,
she
that's
wasn't there.
okay.
So they met on Thursday at the chamber with Ed Hirschman, the Renaissance Roofing, and then the JPs, and at the chamber, and other chamber members were there too.
The Renaissance man explained to Mr. Harshman that some of the old was taken off site and made a model of it. He has it in his shop. It will be returned.
That was the thing, see, it was missing.
Yes.
And that's when everybody said, oops, it's been taken off site, and it'll be returned, and the bells went off. Ding, 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 ding,
Yeah.
ding. Had we not said anything, would the off-site have returned? And I am just asking a question, not necessarily questioning his honesty, just asking a question, let's fill in the blanks as to where that went.
Yes, I do know, and I don't know if it's been returned, but I do know the original plan was for, especially that cupola, the thing on the very top of the dome. So that was sent, and they made a replica of that, and that is supposed to, now, this is the supposed to come back, and because I even made a kind of a joke about it, because they're gonna have to cut it in half, and the county has bought several containers to store all this copper in.
Yes.
So, now that is, I'm just telling you the plan. I don't know how much of that plan has been executed and.
Let me say, I don't know either, but those are questions that have come up. And then the last thing is, why are we storing the copper
I've asked that too.
and
Well,
not selling the copper?
there has been talk of trying to do something with the copper. We've had that discussion a couple of times.
I know we're talking about making bracelets or something out of it.
Yeah, and I think, maybe there was like thought of having like a sculpture or something at one time, something
Just
outside.
so long as, I just don't, I'm opposed to just storing the copper.
I mean, yes, but I'm with you on it. Trust me, we are on the same page as far as because we have purchased the container and we are storing like old stuff in it. So to me, that
Doesn't make sense to
no,
me.
not to me. I'm with you on that.
I'm no
So
expert in the copper field, but that's
I
what
will. So I'll put that on my list of things to bring back
The only
around.
reason to store it is if the price of copper is low, but it was dropping the last time I checked.
That's right, but
But
what
if
we've done is
it's
sit on
gone,
something
gone
like
down,
to
we
do
need to
this.
get rid of when it's
I
high.
mean,
talking about.
we're also keeping. I mean,
And then when you turn
we're
around and
keeping
sell the shipping container,
Look at that little piece around here.
it's right there.
like a weird little pocket.
I'm taking to make me a bracelet.
See, that's what I think, we melt that stuff down, make us all
But,
little bracelets.
yes, and one of the things he did mention too is that copper, like the makeup of copper now is different than the makeup of copper
Correct.
50 years ago. And so that may be the difference in
The quality of the old copper, you did more with less with the old copper than you do now. It's much more malleable. And that's where I don't understand the quality. I know the difference between 18 and 24 karat gold, but I know nothing about copper.
Okay,
And
different
that's
on
where we
this
go
one.
back to
I think that's
how many sheets were
Back then,
ordered to
everything was
replace how many sheets.
really good.
Well-
And then that ought to tell us what we ought to have.
The different, we're putting a better quality, or not, I'm not gonna say a better quality, but that was originally 16-ounce copper.
Yeah, you're using
And we're
thicker
using
stuff.
20-ounce copper this
Right.
time. And, she's exactly right. What they pulled off, they put in there. They had to ship that cupola to Pennsylvania. That's where their home office is, to make an exact replica of it. So yes, they're supposed to ship it back. I don't know if it's come back yet or when it's going to, but
No.
That's
Is
something
there
else.
an equal
And I will
amount,
tell you, I've had
number one,
a couple
is
of
what we got
conversations
versus what
with
we
Ty from
took down?
Renaissance,
And number two, what
and he
is?
gets a little defensive when you
Number three,
question.
how long we been going on to something?
You shouldn't.
Oh, he
Exactly.
does.
with all of it.
So I can imagine the conversation back and forth. I mean, I can see.
Is that who was there?
Guys, we got a motion on the table.
You're moving out.
We've got an appropriation motion on the table for $310,000 to the Blytheville Courthouse Construction Fund. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Got a motion and a second that we appropriate an additional $310,000 out of the Blytheville Courthouse Construction Fund. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Got another, another appropriation coming from Planning and Development. It actually came last month, but it wasn't in time to make the regular monthly quorum court meeting. The college and Greta has come to us requesting an additional $200,000 for workforce training to be spent at A&C. This came with full approval of the Planning and Development Committee. Cliff actually spoke to us last month, but we just didn't get there in time. Any discussion or thoughts? The workforce training is where we train to specific jobs with specific industries.
Question.
Yes,
Just
sir.
brought that up. We sometimes train kids for jobs to go to work for people that are millionaires.
Yeah, it is.
And that bothers me. If these people are millionaires and making that kind of money, why can't they fund their own scholarship? And I'm just asking, why can't they fund those scholarships themselves? You know? I don't want to name names because somebody in here is recording it, but you know what I'm talking about. I have a friend involved in that, and he knows how I feel.
Yeah.
And that concerns me. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I wouldn't want to spend money to help these kids that, well, we're actually taking kids that probably not college material or can't go to college and giving them an opportunity
Exactly.
to become heating and air and electricians, people that are gonna fill a void in my part of the country. Call an electrician where I live, see how long it takes to get somebody to show up.
Oh, yeah, I've been there.
And if I didn't know something on the heat and air people and the plumbers, I couldn't get them to go either.
You know, I agree with you, Dr. Collum, but I think some of the problem is that kind of what you said is that some of these kids are not people that people would invest in at the beginning stages to train them. They might invest in them after they're trained and they've proven that they can finish the program. And so I think that that's where some of the disconnect is.
Percentage wise, to answer that, how many do go through this training to go ahead and get jobs? Do we know that?
I've got a question. Do we pay this money, like, do we pay the money to the company?
No, I think it goes to the
No,
college.
we train people to go
Right,
to work for the
college.
company.
It goes to A&C.
It goes to
But, I
A&C.
mean, do we have to, so how do we track who they're training?
It's on a cost share basis on the number of participants in the program.
Yeah, I think all of my understanding, and I could be wrong, and it's maybe something we need to ask Cliff, but I think it is a cost share program. I think the people who get graduates from this program do put up a certain amount of money. There is some
I didn't
investment.
know that.
I don't think it's just 100% free to them.
Here's a part of what they do with the college. A lot of times in this, they get training on how to do interviews, things of this nature. And then if they get a job, we will pay like 50% of their salary for, I think it's 2 months.
It's either 6 or 8 weeks.
But about 6 or 8 weeks, it completely phases out, doesn't it? Because then we go down to paying 25% and so on and so forth to the point where they just work off of it.
And some of these kids
They
go
have
to
to
work
fall
before
in
they're,
there.
what do you say, certified.
Mhm.
And then as they upgrade, you know, the
We're
guarantee
paying
for
less.
employment is greater.
Right.
But again, I go back to how much participation is there by the people that hire these folks?
At one point in time, at one point in time, Cliff came in and gave us that information, and maybe it's time we ask him to come back and talk to us again. He gave us the numbers on how many people they trained, how many got jobs, how many, what we were paying, the types of jobs they got. It gave us a lot of information, maybe that, and you've not been here for one of those meetings, maybe we need to ask Cliff for that information.
Yeah, I think
College that came in, wasn't it?
He's given us the numbers on how many actually get hired. He's got a real good
That's an
grip
important
on,
number to me.
yeah, he's got a real good grip on exactly how
I think
many
it's
are
pretty high from what I,
So the
from what I recall.
50-50 split though, you were talking about, like, they have to put up something and then the college, so are we, is it only for manufacturing?
Yeah, I believe it is.
Yeah,
Really?
I'm with you, I don't think it is either.
I thought that we were working with,
Well,
I don't mention names, the heat and air people.
Me too. I see it, yeah, I did too.
but I think it's associated with the
I think
maintenance
that's still
department.
considered industrial.
Yeah.
I think the heat and air and aviation and all that stuff is all still considered industrial.
It's not just a trade school type deal
Okay.
where they go out on their own. It's tied in to our local industry.
I just wondered if when they end up with someone working at Nucor that supplies this service and we work them in, are we getting any kind of reimbursement or help out of the people that reap the benefit of our program? You see what I'm talking about?
I agree, no, I agree with what I know what you're saying, yeah. I'm with you.
I'll give you the arguments that we've heard in
We
the
also
past,
paid
okay?
hiring Mississippi County
We
employees.
take a kid from Blythe or from Osceola.
Not the heat and air.
Let's say we
They can't
take
get
10 of them.
incentivized.
And 7 of them get jobs,
Do what?
Heat and air can't get.
and they end up with
incentivized.
well-paying jobs at Nucor.
Not just as a
They just
private,
add it back to our tax base.
Crow's heat and air or something like that.
Yeah.
No, it would be the maintenance department of Nucor or BRS
Tax
or,
base off of what they start to make.
But the reason I bring that up is I know 3 kids that came from
yeah,
tough
that was one of our,
background. It couldn't have done
Fiascos.
anything,
I'm just
but
saying,
yeah,
they
it
came
raised a
to
lot
get
of
an
red
associate's
flags.
degree and found out about this program.
Wasn't supposed to
and then
happen,
they
but it did.
And subsequently got a job.
And we need to be pushing, we need to be pushing trade schools
We
as
sure
hard as we
do.
You
push.
know, we need that.
I need-
But
I need
again,
former.
if we're training
you say
people
this
for
is-
corporate America that's making millions of dollars, come on, fellas, give us something
I
back.
did see that.
I don't disagree, but then I'll say, where I see that they're doing that is they're paying these people good money, and we're reaping the benefits of those tax dollars.
Those people's salaries, not
Yes.
what the company's
I
making.
think Harley's.
Right.
I see what you're saying.
I think we may need to have Cliff come talk to us, because I may be confused here. I don't think I don't know. Because Harley asked a good question. He said, don't they have to work in the county?
I think it's required that they
Yeah, I
have
think
to stay in this county for
Yes,
so
it is.
many years. They just can't get that thing and go somewhere else. 'Cause This is
If
what
that's
we,
not true, I
what we
would be
went for.
very much in favor of that.
Yeah, I think
Because that means they have to live here, which means they pay their taxes here and everything else.
that's what the county has, that's the
That's-
buy-in.
That was the
Right.
buy-in from us.
Well,
Yeah.
I agree that the kids
So
gonna
we
pay
could have
taxes.
him
What
come and
about
talk to
the employer that reaps the benefit
We're
of
gonna
our
have
training,
a
or they have
planning
money?
and
They're gonna
development
stay in
committee.
the county if they can get qualified employees. If they can't get qualified
Schools
employees,
don't
they're
get
gonna, they're gonna consider closing their plants and going
No,
elsewhere.
I agree up to a point, except those people that go to work for Nucor are not, you know, I mean, they're not gonna get a job someplace else.
It's
Where
gonna rain.
can those kids at that level get a job that even approaches Nucor or Big River or D&L, you
I
know,
know that
Heat and
should-
Air, something like that? That's hard to match.
Right, it is, and like that, and I know out there,
48%.
JMS and all that, what they had out there, they were having the hardest time. They were going all over the place trying to get employees.
Absolutely.
Oh, it's terrible right
And the
now.
thing is, this has helped get them qualified people, because when they get them, they don't have to start from ground zero.
Right.
And we're doing that for them.
So,
And we're doing it, but it does help them, and
Oh, yeah.
it helps them grow too.
are we
The benefit.
combining the two programs? Like, hey Kelly, there's multiple programs, right? So,
From what I remember from the P&D meeting, what Tamika and Cliff were wanting to appropriate money for was just the countywide workforce training line. And so what we pay out of that one is strictly to ANC, And it is, like, for the month of March, it was trainings for Nucor Steel and Nucor Yamato. But they do offer trainings for other people too. I know Denzo's one of them,
Big River.
Big River is one of them. There's several different companies that use those. But I think the other workforce training that we might be combining a little bit is the actual ANC work program. And so that's where they do bring these applicants in and they put them through the program and then they help them get a job, and we do pay part of their salary for a while. But I think what this specific appropriation is for was just what we pay ANC.
Correct.
And my understanding from that planning and development committee was, is this was kind of something that we've already committed to, but it was out of money and it had to be refunded.
That's exactly right.
So, I mean, I agree with everything that Dr. Collum is saying, and I think it is time to maybe address some of those programs and how they work. But this specific line item, I feel like we were already committed to. This was just a transfer of funds to refund it, was my understanding.
Well, I think that's what happens though in a lot of those programs, is that we'll give some money to the program and then they'll use it and then they ask for more money. So while I agree with how we've committed to it in the past, I mean, I think if we were ever going to look at it, now would be the time to look at it.
So we need to have Cliff probably come and talk to the court about it.
We're trying to schedule a planning and development committee meeting as we speak. Cindy asked me about it. Cliff, I tried to put it together late last week, and Cliff was actually going to be out of town. He asked if we could move it to this week. Would Wednesday or Thursday work for most of you guys?
Any day but Monday.
Any day but Monday.
Thursday? Friday. Thursday, okay with you? You guys are the,
I'm not on the committee.
I am, hold on just a second, I'll get my card.
I think we're having an insurance meeting on Friday.
Wednesday or Thursday, either one is fine with me.
Cindy, you know of anything Wednesday or Thursday that would conflict? Wednesday or Thursday after lunch?
Thursday after lunch would be okay. Thursday morning is bad for me. I've got two doctor's appointments.
Can you do it?
You'll set it
Oh,
for...
yeah, there is an insurance meeting on Friday if we did them back to back.
Got a what meeting Friday?
Insurance committee, you'll want to be there for that.
Oh, that's Friday. I can come at noon Friday and stay all night.
I mean, we can tack it on to that. We already have a meeting at 1 here.
all night.
I don't know about you.
I might not can make it Friday myself,
Well,
though.
come by, give me a
Friday's a
ride.
tough one on me.
Okay.
What about, let's try for Thursday at 1:30,
Okay.
and we'll ask Cliff and Cliff wants to be here. Cliff's the one actually asking for the meeting.
Okay.
So, all right, so do you want to shelve that 200,000 until we get to talk to Cliff?
Mm-hmm.
Table it for the moment? Okay, we'll table that for the moment. That's really all the hard business that we wanted to talk about today, the actions that we needed to take. I did want to mention that I haven't dropped the salary issue, the raises. I've just gotten really, really personally busy for a little bit, but we are still looking at that. We want to work on those lower tiers and try to get these workers that are below minimum up before we ever even consider the 2022 budget. The other issue is the insurance. That's going to be talked about at the insurance committee meeting Friday. Aaron will give you, Justice Fleeman will give you an update on where we're at. We've gotten a dab of money that they want to talk about doing something with. But he'll bring you up to date on where we are in our lawsuit and stuff during that meeting. I'd encourage everybody to try to come to that. The software issues, we've moved over to Apprentice. Kelly, you want to just speak for just 2 seconds on that?
Well, we have gone fully live with them as of April 1st. So we will be working on getting our data from the other side transferred over. It's going to be really hectic right now because the first quarter was put in our old system. We're having to work out of 2 systems for a little bit until we can get that. But, you know, all the reports will look different, so it's just going to be a learning curve for everybody for a little bit. But it's gone really well. We are very happy with the way it's gone since April 1st. we did lose some capabilities that we were not happy about at first, but I think overall, it's going to be an easier system to use. And they are working on getting us back the capabilities that we were used to. So, I mean, I think it's been positive.
Harley, you've gone online a little bit more. You want to touch on that for a sec?
Yeah, we went with personal starting the first of the year. And we have converted over into that, and it's gone very smooth, especially when you come out of an old AS400 system and go into Windows. Because it's very hard to convert. You have to take it and put it through a navigator system after you get the thing, and then it converts it over to Excel, and then Excel has to be put over. And every time you move it through something, you got a chance of losing something. And that's what the problem with that. We found out that when we got the real estate hooked up at the 1st of April, everybody's loving it. We're online now, and the realtors and the appraisers and anybody wants to look up their stuff, they can go right online, click on it, and bring up their own stuff and look at their taxes, look at everything that they got on it. They can't change nothing, but they could do a lot of looking. And I've already had 4 realtors that just told me that wish we'd done that years ago. And I said, I was trying to save the county money till this point. So
It's a lot easier to search than the other one I used to.
Oh yeah, a lot easier to search, and you can run it anyway. Plus, it stops a lot of traffic from coming into my office that's unnecessary. So I'm pleased with it. We did have a problem with the scanning. We've scanned somewhere around 235,000 pieces of information into our system when we went paperless. Well, getting that scanning part over into their stuff, it took 10 hours to download. And then after the 10 hours, we found out we only got half of it. So we tried 3 more times and it blew us out 3 times. And now we've got it compressed and we have it. Now just getting it from that point into their system is it. So, but if they do that, we'll have all the scan information. We can look up Amendment 79's deeds, everything from our system.
One last financial thing I'd like to just drop on top of you for thought. No action, I don't think, at this point. But we combined 911 and Wayne Reynolds' job, OEM. Wayne's taken on both responsibilities. We made some changes in his salary stuff. But we also recognized that Wayne was going to be putting in more time, more hours. And of the moment where there's 2 options. When he goes over the allotted time frame, he can either accumulate comp time or he can be paid overtime. But he's so busy, at this point at least, and getting used to the 2 new jobs and everything, I don't know that he'd ever have time to take his comp time. So I've asked Kelly to go ahead and be paying him overtime of the moment till we kind of feel our way through it, but we have no money appropriated in overtime. Now we can go back and readdress this and put him in a position where he'll need to take comp time later on, but I'd like to continue paying him overtime for the moment. And then if everybody thinks about this, if you'd like to discuss it with Wayne, please feel free. If you'd like to discuss it with Kelly, please feel free. But I think we're going to probably need to appropriate some money into his overtime line item. It's just there's nothing in the line item in the budget for him. Kelly, any thoughts there, huh?
No.
That pretty well cover that?
How much overtime are we paying him on that?
Well, this past pay period was the first time that he had turned any in, and I honestly don't know off the top of my head how much that he turned in. So I can look and let you know. But, I mean, he worked some long days. I think there was a couple of storms or something maybe. There was a tornado in somewhere
Wilson
down there.
area,
So
yeah.
that accounted for some of it, but the other was due to him doing 911 duties also.
Judge, or
We
judge.
should have just
No. Justice.
But when we combined those two, we had money appropriated for each of them.
Mhm.
And when he took over the second job, we didn't give him even half of what the appropriation for the
Give
other
10%
job.
of, 10% of what we say.
That doesn't sit right with me for some reason, so, but, you know, then I don't need to do something to pay the man for what he does.
It's gonna be a touchy-feely kind of thing, and blind in the dark, you know, feeling out how this is gonna work best.
I
But
mean, if
if
he's
you got a
working
man-
this much, we might end up having to do a part-time person or something,
And he may
He's
come
gonna
to us
be
and
an
ask for that.
assistant.
He's got two people
Yeah,
working
or-
for him now.
or something.
But I mean, it would be kind of a slap in the face to me if I'm working for him X number of dollars and you for X number of dollars, and y'all get together and then you don't pay me as much as you used to. You see what I'm saying?
I understand.
It's kind of a whack shit
Well,
on the job.
I do think we should pay him overtime instead of comp time, at least while he's training through
Yeah.
it, for sure. So,
Guys, we don't have any other business. I'm gonna call us adjourned. And, we got meetings Thursday and Friday. Okay, thank you.
the only other thing